In Germany, there's a word for children. It's Kinder, plural. And we have a word for garden. And in English language, they took our word for place where the little children, when parents have not the time, kindergarten. And in Germany, it's the same word, kindergarten. So, you was there? You remember how the little girls and boys usually often behave? You say something to them what they do not like. The answer: you are stupid. You are stupid. You are ugly. I don't like you. What do you say? It was distinguished man, a president of the United States of America, with fine clothing, tell you something. Then, God save America, and me, and our money. But what do you say if some Native American, half naked, with feathers, says the same? Interesting was this man is telling there from which bushes he's come, just clipping to the civilization. And it's a surprise. He's really able to speak in English language. Very interesting. And look, his colored feathers. And what do you say if a pervert sissy idiot, a pervert which already was 12 times in a madhouse, say that the climate simulation programs speak the truth? All governments of all countries on Earth accepted in the climate negotiations of Paris a weakened version of the result of the mathematical statistical analysis of the climate simulation programs of that time. And the mathematical statistical analysis had the following result. With the probability, if I remember right, about 97% was more than half of the rise of the average global temperature man-made. And they are tested 100 years of measurement of temperature. We have temperatures, and if you run these programs for these 100 years, they give the rise of the temperature, this exact that curve that was already measured. And if you let these programs run in that way, gives the start conditions like there would not be any emission of carbon dioxide or other greenhouse gases. So simulate like there is no mankind. Then the simulation curve simulations gave constant temperatures. And from this, the mathematical statistical analysis gave the result about 97% probability that more than half of this rising of the average global temperature is man-made. And climate negotiations as a few years ago. Now the simulation programs already, you can be sure, a little bit better than at that times. And there was simulation programs in 1980s. Not so good as modern programs. Not so good computers. Not so good data. And not so good mathematics of these programs. And these old programs made predictions. And all predictions of climate curves was correct. All what these old programs has predicted, then later became real, was measured. And these modern programs give all times of the ice ages of the last 3 million years in the right way. They give this as a result. These programs, these simulated programs, work and speak the truth as much as it is possible. The truth of these programs. You should trust more than the truth of some mad CIOs of ExxonMobil, which has some little financial interests of several $100 million for their insane published opinions. The real opinions of them, hidden in their brains, they know perfectly well, better than most other people, that there is a climate catastrophe. And I think Shell was that oil company which already in the 70s made a study about this threat. And the result was not so perfect, so they let this result disappear. They know exactly that there's a climate catastrophe. And also Mr. Trump, he knows exactly that he don't speak the truth. There's no climate rise. It's an invention of China. So, and why Mr. Trump then that changed by his architects the plans of his tennis places because of to expect changes of the climate? If you don't believe in this, they believe all in this. They know that perfectly well. And all this rich and super rich, they know perfectly there's a climate catastrophe. And they think, okay, there is this catastrophe. So we have to prepare ourselves and for our family as much power, as much money as possible. And how you can earn much money? In oil business. And if we do not this, others do it. But it's very important that the whole people of this world don't know this and be passive like sheeps or like bovines that in the countryside, completely relaxed, and the date with the butcher is already managed. And for this purpose, with all the money, they sent hundred thousands of net warriors and corrupt creatures that treat us of mankind for some money. People that think, I live maybe 20 years more, and anything else doesn't matter to me. For example, this man here from our Conservative Party, which lost the elections here now. What's his name? Doesn't matter. This man, he's maybe 70 years, he just wanted to be a little bit the king of Germany for some years until he's dead. Climate protection. And he don't it's unpleasant to him to see here refugees, disturbed in here, brown people, not so cute and not like the good old times. So improve at the border. That's all what him is interesting. A little bit play here the king and the fate of all people here and of people which could live after him. After me, Noah's flood. Doesn't matter to him. And there are millions of this treaters of mankind here. paid, corrupt creatures. They are fluting the web, telling nonsense. They always tell nonsense. Always, each day. Each day they say, what is with this dark and there's no wind, then there's no electricity. The modern solar thermic power plants work with oil. This is heated by parabolic mirrors to maybe 600 degrees Celsius. They run since years in Spain and they work and work and work. In each power plant first you have heat, and from heat you have everything else. In a nuclear power plant you have first heat. In a coal power plant you have first heat. In a gas power plant you have first heat. The heat evaporate water, and the hot high pressure steam drive a turbine, a steam turbine, and the turbine drive a big dynamo, a generator. So from heat in 1,000 and 10,000 times done and tested and made first heat, and then everything else is electricity. And these parabolic mirrors give heat to the oil, 600 degrees Celsius, and a part of this is stored for the night. Such power plants can run weeks and months without any sunlight and any wind. There is no Dunkelflaute, the word in German. Dunkel is dark, and Flaute means no wind. It is not the... And you can write it in a comment under this videos in the internet. You can explain it in a text of 10,000 words. Next day, this person writes the same shit. Yeah. Treatise of Mankind. Okay. And I only wanted to ask, if there is a dangerous situation, you are at the street and there is a bus and you have problems with your hearing because maybe you just have an infection. There's a bus. 10 seconds and you are dead. And there is some person, the President of the United States, and say, hey, I proclaim there's a bus. And you should jump from the street to rescue your life. Mr. President, God save us, the Queen, America, and our money. And I jump away from the street. And if a sissy like me, maybe in a pink skirt and with a hot tights, would say, hey, a bus. 10 seconds more and then you are dead. What do? No, you are pervert sissy. I don't listen what you say. Is that your logic in the case of the climate catastrophe? Then, congratulations. I think it's better that we all should die soon, and we will. 50 more years, or 400 billion tons more carbon dioxide, and we will reach exactly that tipping points, which are equivalent to bus rolled over you, or it's too late to use the brakes of the bus, and it's too late to jump. Then tipping points, deathly death spirals with no more return and irreversible will be reached. And then you can do whatever you want. And for me, it's okay. You are allowed then to kill all cities. You are allowed then to install 10 Adolf Hitlers or 190 Adolf Hitlers in each country. Okay, do it. Doesn't matter then for me anymore. You can spit on me every day 10,000 times, doesn't matter. You can here pray from the morning to the evening, or make yoga, or eat ugly carbohydrate food which make you diabetes type 2. You can the whole day, would be the worst of all cases, play here music from ABBA from the morning to the evening. So this will cause insanity for me, in my case, after 2 days. Do it. Doesn't matter. Do whatever you want. 15 years more in this style of making climate protection here, but not in reality. And then we are all finished. Yeah. Then all walls will break, and the flood will be everywhere. Then we only can run like panic chickens from there to there to try to stop this somehow. And billions will starve from hunger. Billions. And we could avoid this. Even one super rich person alone could rescue us with $100 billion. A person which is willing, under all circumstances, make a desert tech. Such a desert tech gives electricity extremely cheap, extremely safe, can be transported with high voltage DC with very low relation loss, can be transported over sea. 1,000 kilometers is from Iceland to Europe. They export cheap geothermal electricity since 1990, at least. So, and at 1 square kilometer, the solar content is about 1.5 gigawatts. This is a very, very large power plant, like Biblis or so. And from this kind, you could alone in Sahara have 1.5 billion, million power plants. Of course, only if the sun would always be 90 degrees there. So, but 1.5 billion. So, if you have only 1/10% of this energy, then you have only to divide this 1.5 billion by 1,000. So only from Sahara we could get completely easy, with this calculation, 1,500 power plants like Biblis. And the real calculation is a surface, an area like England is enough for the whole energy of the whole mankind, everything. Electricity, heating of buildings, and industry, traffic, everything. And we could give up all cars, except maybe police or emergency cars, and make here only cabin, like here in Wuppertal. The most safe traffic system of the world. There was 2 accidents. Once there was a little elephant. They transported it to the zoo, and it broke through the wagon, fall down into this river, the Wupper. But it was not injured. His name was Tuffy, and since that time they have the milk, Tuffy milk. There. This one accident. Another accident was maybe 10 or 20 years ago. Workers had made them some works there and had forgotten something there, and then another accident. No other accident. I so often was in this driving blacks there. My first love, she often drove there black 3 times already. Yeah, that's not so good. But you each 3 minutes, one cabin, but no waiting, and whoop, and after 10 minutes, through the whole city, no problems, no red lights, nothing. And you can make it comfortable, not this is hard plastic. You can make 6 for 6 persons with perfect, and it's driven with electricity and all the seats. You need not have this stinking and loud cars with explosion engines. You ever was in a real countryside? Such peace and such paradisic environment situation we could have everywhere. And this electricity would be so extremely cheap. Even with this giant roofs, 1,500 meter high. It's this kind of power plants came in, and then the air around this glass, some 100 meters, sun is shining, hot air through the cabin, and then turbine in the cabin. Engineers from the Technical University of Munich calculated this, and they make a test power plant in Spain, and they wrote a simulation program for larger power plants of this type in Sahara, and they calculated the price for this electricity. They said, okay, these machines could run 40 years. There's a dry air in this desert, no problem. And we have experiences in building of big such for cooling of other power plants. So it would have been possible, and they calculated for the price of this electricity. It was as cheap as the cheapest other power plant electricity from that time, atomic power plant electricity. But this price was a poison price. It was a fake price, because in this price there was not all this costs for rebuilding of these old reactors. This is very expensive, billions and billions. This was not contained in this price. And the big electricity companies already here has now the result of the laws of the governments, corrupt governments here everywhere in Germany, all corrupt, and they need not to pay for the rebuild of these power plants. This will have to be paid from the common taxes, and all this cost was not included in this fake price for this cheap atomic electricity of that time. And this electricity from this giant roofs, 1,500 meter high, like a mountain, this already was as cheap as the cheapest energy of that time, 1990, which was a fake price. Yeah. They took 100,000 tons of high radioactive waste into the Mediterranean Sea in old containers of iron, which are roasting. And they took so many radioactive waste into the North Sea. And the physicists calculated big volume of water, and we now calculate the activity. We take the total activity of all our radionuclides. We took into this water, and take the total volume of the water. But this calculation was wrong, because the enrichment of this radioactive nucleides in the fishes, in all life there, million times higher enriched in the liver of the fishes. And this is on the table of the people here in Europe at noon. They got it back in lunch. And if you buy eggs, good, healthy omega-3 eggs, from where is this omega-3? It's from seafood. It's from little seafood, not good for anything else. But you can feed chicken. And in this, of course, there's also this radioactivity, radionuclides. So much costs which are hidden, which are not involved in this price of this atomic power plant electricity at the time, 1990. And this price of this very complicated solution of solar atomic power plants with this 1,500 meter high roofs already was as cheap, but too cheap and not fake cheap, like this cheapest energy of that time, atomic power plant electricity. And there are only in Sahara 50 million square kilometers, and you need only the area of Britain for the energy production of whole mankind. And the transport is no problem. High voltage DC lines. And the overseas transport also no problem at all. Since 1990 at least, when this study was made, from engineers from the Technical University of Munich. At that time, Iceland produced cheap geothermal electrical energy. There's so much volcano because of this is Andreas. This is I think Pacific. But there's much volcanism, much cheap geothermal energy. There are open waters, hot. It's winter and they can take a bath there. And there's so much cheap energy, and they export it to Europe. And look at the globe. This Iceland, is 1,000 kilometers from Scandinavia. Transport over sea, undersea lines for electricity, no problem. Already 1990, no problem. And the Mediterranean Sea, Gibraltar, 30 kilometers. It is possible. And here, Professor Quashwin says, yes, it's possible, but at the same time it's not possible, because you have to make negotiations with everyone. Everyone which land you want to cross with your lines. And he says it's too late for these negotiations. So in Germany we should better make photovoltaic and these windmills. It's possible with this. And you can produce methane. So you can store the energy. This energy in summer. From sunlight and from wind. You can store it in form of methane you produce with this electricity. And you have already the storage for this methane. We have very, very, very large caverns in the underground. Because we import gas from Russia, and the politics don't trust Russia, so they have these big caverns storage for gas. It's enough to store it for months, and so we have already this big caverns to store methane produced with windmills or with photovoltaic. And already today, says this Professor Quashwin, he studied in electrotechnics, and he worked his whole life in regenerative energies. He knows it. And in April, a physics professor here make a lecture online. What he say? Yes, we have a statistic. Such countries which has very low electricity, they're always the poorest countries, and in Africa they are so poor, and it is okay if in Africa they should first now build coal power plants for some time. And this Professor Quashing, the absolute specialist working his whole life in negative energy, say just even today already photovoltaic electricity is not more expensive without subventions, without help with other money. It's not more expensive than the electricity from coal power plants. And here's the big electricity company from Northern Westphalia. They just built a coal power plant in you. And scandals here, scandals there. Demonstrations, police, a very high court said, no, Mr. Minister President from here, not destroy here this very old forest, 10,000 years old forest, to dig brown coal, the dirtiest coal for this electricity company. Money, money, money. And they gave money to the governments. They just simply destroyed all our photovoltaic industry. 100,000 working places, they exist still. A little bit more in the eastern direction in China. They still exist, these working places. Thank you, government here. Thank you, RWE, our electricity company. And we have here a basic law of Northern Westphalia. There is written that monopoly companies which produce basic substances which are very important for our country, they should be taken from private owners to the public owning of the government. So we could make this dirty game an end from the law, not from the real power. As long as they can give money, corruption, creating money to each person in the government. All our lives are under deathly threat, not only in Germany, everyone else. And this AfD slogan, first rescue our Germany and then the rest of the world. Have you ever heard that a storm or a cold wind from everywhere, he come to Germany, and then this storm, here is Germany, here is a big nationalist, the homeland-loving guardian at the border of Germany. I'm a thunderstorm. I'm a typhoon. I'm afraid of the AfD. No, here's the border to Germany, and I never will cross this border because here is a very, very great guardian of Germany. Here is a cold storm from Iceland, from the polar region. rejection of Germany. But here's the German border. No, because never because this border. And big the thunderstorm, 180 degrees changing of the direction because we are so scared of this AfD. Yes, if here the left party would have won the elections, then if there is some, maybe there's we have here a cyclone, we have here an orkan. Okay, it's only the left party which is here in the government of Germany. So we just toss with our air and all our cold and our destruction across the border. But if the AfD is here, guardian of Germany, then no cold weather will cross the border of Germany. No wind will cross the border of Germany. Because here is guardian AfD, which protect our homeland. First rescue Germany and then rescue the rest of the world. We can have here a global rise of average temperatures of 10 degrees. But oh miracle, because AfD is ruling our country. In France we have 40 degrees and here we have 20 degrees. Miracle, not miracle. Here is AfD in the government. They protect our country. First our country, protecting and saving, and then the rest of the world. So climate protection is nonsense. Yes, that's AfD. That's AfD. And this Frauke Petri, she was a chemist, yeah? And I saw it in YouTube how she treated this people from the high school. I studied in physics. If I would be in this discussion, then not Miss Frauke Petri. Then not. Sure not. Here. So what is with water and carbon dioxide? If you heat it, what is happening then? Tell it to me. What? Yes, and then so learn better in school. My girl from high school. Not with me. Yeah. Carbon dioxide is a mixture of different isotopes. For example, the isotope with atomic weight 14. The half-life time is about 6,640 years. And all carbon dioxide, which is from fossil sources, it's deep under the earth. There is no cosmic radiation. So there is no production of new isotope C14. And after millions of years, this oil and this coal is lying deep in the earth. There is zero C14 in this mixture of different isotopes. You know exactly from where this carbon dioxide is. Is it from the sea? Because just for fun, the heating power of sun increased, and then, yes, what is if you have a water with carbon dioxide and it is heated? Bubble, bubble, bubble. The source of this additional carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, Frauke Petri, is not man-made. It's just from the ocean. Not mistreater of mankind, Miss Frauke Petri. If I only saw her in these different talk shows, all other politicians with a serious face, speaking about the fate of millions of people. But she is this problems, which is the question of to be or not to be, of other human beings. Her dirty grin, her joy, her sadistic joy. Disgusting person. Disgusting, really disgusting. Psychopaths. psychopaths, which are the third of mankind. Here. And maybe I am also a psychopath. I'm very sure a psychopath. And now I will close this again with a question. If there is a bus and somebody says you, hey, careful, there is a bus, jump from the street or you're dead. Doesn't matter to you if this is told you from a person with a good, normal, serious clothing, and if Sissy would tell this to you with a red little miniskirt and hot tights and around the neck a nice necklace made from preservatives would tell this to you, and additional maybe drunken or on heroin, doesn't matter. A decimal set is a decimal set. It could told to you from an alien or from rise from the grave, the Adolf Hitler, only a skull, doesn't matter. If there's the information of a decimal set, the bus came, and if you don't jump away from the street, you are dead. It doesn't matter the source. Important is this information true or not? And who is true? 99% of all science in physics and in other natural science are people which owns each year maybe 200 or 300 $1 million from the mineral oil companies, the bosses. Who is a better source of information? Who? And most physicists, for example, are atheists, about 90%. They don't have the promised land, the paradise as a planet B. Like this idiot George W. Bush. His minister said, for what we have to make environment protection, we can burn as much oil as we want. Only even in this century, Jesus Christ will come back from the sky and make the last judgment. So for what we should make climate protection or stop burning oil. That's the way this person think. That's the way the whole Republican Tea Party idiots are thinking. These idiots from Texas. Texas is the center of the sex center of the land of the evil. They are all these old slaveholder dynasties. There's not only the out of mankind flag of the USA. They even were the flag of the old southern states. Is additional in this rotten way where fox and rabbit say hello to each other in the evening. Texas is the absolute evil of the evil. That's the most evil country on over the earth. It's the evil of the evil. Where the George W. Bush has his farm. There was sometimes some reporters from TV, I think ARD or so. We are looking for the S of the world. Where is the S of the world? We heard here in Texas must be the S of the world. And then they reached the farm of Mr. George W. Bush. We found it. The S of the world. This man, this fake 9/11, a German high military, 30 years in the air defense of Germany, and he said, our defense system we got from America. They designed it under the parole, never again a second Pearl Harbor. And Pearl Harbor, not Pearl Harbor. Pearl Harbor was only a little part of that was attacked at that day. They attacked the whole, what's the name there? Not Thailand, it was this island there. Yeah. It was conquered from USA. So many places were attacked that day, not only Pearl Harbor, but they could not say this, because then all citizens would think, huh? What? USA is there near Thailand, Haiti, everywhere is USA. What's that? So they said, Pearl Harbor was attacked. Yeah. Okay. And then they created this air defense system. And we got it from them. And this high military said, 60 years he worked, he is a specialist. And he was long time in the NATO high rank councils for air defense and everything. And he said, after this illegal war of aggression, according to the criminal chessboard games of this swine Brzezinski, they destroyed Yugoslavia as a part of their chessboard games to avoid that Asia and Europe cooperate, Russia, Middle Europe and China. Since 100 years, they only have no other aim than to avoid this, the USA. For this, they set the whole Middle East in fire, and they made maneuvers at North Korea, 300,000 soldiers, aircraft carriers, nuclear-armed military jets. Maybe sure, I'm quite sure they are also injured the borders of North Korea. And North Korea already knows the Americans, not the best experiences. They bombed everything. There was nothing else to bomb, so they bombed the walls of this to water reservoirs. In the Nuremberg war criminal tribunal, they said that's the most criminal thing to bomb this. And they did it themselves in Korea, North Korea, and they made war crimes. Millions of civilians they killed, and they took poisoned insects and napalm and everything. So the North Korean people already know the Americans, and when they make their maneuvers at the borders of North Korea, 300,000 American soldiers and aircraft carriers and nuclear-armed jets, they're injuring the borders of North Korea. Then this dictator there, I don't like him, he looks ugly, but at least, sure, he has solidarity for his people. And I'm very sure an average North Korean in this country, I never want to live in this dictatorship, but I'm sure they are not. The life is there in average better than for the average American. Dying from the secret police and tortured to death in North Korea, or dying in a jail in USA. Is there any difference? That is that. Or in Guantanamo. What a kind of justice. Since years, day and night, under white strong light, day and night, without any dark. 5 years in a cage, like a panther or something else. Is it not torture? Americans are barbarians. And this Tea Party idiots, they want the creationists. There was a scandal. They don't want it that their strategy papers would be published. It was an accident. And the plans, they want to overtake the whole government and make a new medieval theocracy. And all this old terror. killing all homosexuals, kill always make abortion and all everything. The first that make abortion was a Christian God, Old Testament. If you are in doubt, your wife could be pregnant from another man, take her to the priest, and then he will give her poisoned drunk. And if she really is pregnant, then this will come out. The first that make abortions violently, even with a Christian God, killing commands. If you work at the weekend, giving killing commands, kill your disobedient child. Give killing command if your bride, you find out in the wedding night she is not innocent. Kill them in the same night. And this is the book. This is the promised planet B, for which these idiots say, for what climate protection, why we should not burn no oil. They are all mad, insane. I was 12 times in a madhouse. We have here a global madhouse. I mean this seriously. We have here a global madhouse. In 5 years, even 1 billionaire with 100 billion. If you make a violently, I make now desert tech. It was such a success. All resistance would be flew away. And there's enough money. So $1,100 billion only NATO. So 13 times more than Russia. So take 7 times more than Russia. Then you are protected against Russia. Against the barbarians from Russia. You give 13 times more. You made more than 200 wars of aggression in 245 years. How many wars was made from Russia? 1, I think 0. Or from Iran. In 2,000 years, not a single war of aggression. And you made in 245 years more than 200 wars of aggression. But Iran is the land of the evil. And Russia also. You give 30 times more money for weapons than Russia. So give 7 times more money for weapons to Russia. And if you take the rest for solar tech in Nevada, in Sahara, in Altamira, in Australia, in Tar, and you have no single enemy on the whole planet more anymore, you madman from America. You need not $1,100 billion a year for weapon. You 770 and your satellites, your bootlicking slaves here, all the rest. Altogether 1,100 billion. Take the half, and you give still 7 times more for weapon than Russia. Isn't this enough to be secure? That's not the question. This money, which would be desperately needed for something, go away. But it not only go away. There are other pockets where it not go away, where it comes in. And that's the problem. And they assume they could survive this. They really assume this. We have a global 6th mass extinction of species. More worse than the 5th. And more like the 4th. And in the 4th, 240 million years ago, nearly all multicellular life species died out. And this, I am sure, is even more worse than the 4th. All multicellular life will die. And then I will see you clowns, how you want to survive then, with your billions. First, there are no people anymore to serve you, then your billions are... Then you're not any longer billionaire. Even not millionaire. Then you are nothing else than the person which must use their own hands to survive. And that I will see. And if you build a big autark system, the first system crashed, only cockroaches. You can make it perfect, more perfect. But it must be 100% perfect. one bite down, and you're finished. This I would like to see, you clowns, how you will survive, what your stomach will see. This I will see. And these Google idiots, to live eternal, storage their own mind into transistor storage, without your body, without neurotransmitter, all these nerves, and all this chemistry, and all this the hormones, only the information content. You will not be surprised what will happen then. Because you cannot anymore be surprised then. Because then you have zero feelings. You can earn billions. You can be loved from everyone. You can be the most accepted and most rich, and all your wishes can be fulfilled. You will feel zero. You will be a camera with microphone and an instrument to measure temperature. You want? You Google idiot transhumanists. Good luck. Good luck. Much fun I cannot wish you, because you will not have fun. You will not feel anything. Idiots. This planet is a global madhouse. I was 12 times in a madhouse. Believe me, this is a global madhouse. A group of beings which kill themselves are mad. Or not. And maybe you can now argue with probabilities. Like the AfD. Only 90% are of this opinion. 10% say, you go to the hospital. 10 doctors say, hey, you need immediately an antibioticum. You have an infection, you need an antibioticum, or you will die or could die. And there's one doctor say, no, you are healthy, no problem. And then to say, 9 doctors say, das ist it. 1 doctor say, not das ist it. That's the argumentation of the AfD. 10% of the, or 50%, doesn't matter, of the scientists say there is no climate catastrophe, so what to do? Nothing. AfD say we should not follow that what we have signed in Paris. Basta. This they say. And one of the argument is some scientists say so, some others say different. It's the same kind of argumentation like you would go to the hospital and 5 doctors say, hey, you have an infection, you have a sepsis. Okay, you have a sepsis. And you need now injection with vitamin C. 100 gram into, then you're healthy. You can have sepsis, but you're healthy then. 100 gram vitamin C heals sepsis. If you have the S card and there's a doctor you don't know, you die. If you have another S card and the doctor gives you 40 gram injection, you die. If you have not the S card and the doctor gives you 100 gram injection, you have sepsis, you survive. Okay, another example, not just with sepsis. For example, you have, any disease, an infection, dangerous infection. 5 doctors say, hey, you need antibioticum. 5 others say, no. What do you do then? Das ist it. 5 doctors say, das ist it. Other 5 say, no, das ist it. Then you say, hey, happy joy. I leave the hospital. There's my favorite football team just has the soccer today. Bye. No. If you have some danger, for example, you have the danger, here I can buy a cheap chicken, and you think, maybe it's not good anymore. Maybe it's already, chicken is also not a good example. Let's better take fruit. because chicken, poison with chicken, also could be dead. Yes, but let's take fruit. You look this fruit, very cheap, orange. You think maybe inside it's dry. Yeah. You think, I know this man. He's a gangster. I think 50% this cheap orange is bad, 50% is good. Okay, do it. No problem. But another example. I gave my car to this handcraft worker here. 50% the brake is okay, 50% not. Would you then go to the German highway, no limit, speed limit, and drive with these brakes 250 kilometers per hour? Not. Except one case. You are like me, madman in madhouse. Then yes. But if you have a car and you think, hey, I know this man which repaired my brake. I think 50% this brake is okay, 50% is not okay. Would you then go to the next highway just testing? You have a Maserati, just let us have no risk, no fun. Drive with 350 kilometers per hour. German highway, no limit. It's all not perfectly true. There are many parts which are with limit, but there are also parts without limit. So would you go with your Maserati and just no risk, no fun, and drive it with 350 kilometers per hour? 50% your brake is okay, 50% not. You would not risk this. For this orange, you can risk it. Okay, I buy it. I know this man here with his shop. He is a gangster. I know it, but it's very cheap. Just risk it. You can risk this, but you cannot risk it. In that case, if you lose the game, you lose your life. If you only lose €3 in the game, it's okay. But if you lose a game and you lose your life, then you should not risk this. Yeah. And that's the same in our climate protection question. Yeah. If these people which say, hey, 50% of all scientists say, we have this test research, the other 50% say not. So what? It's also nonsense. But this is it is a game with rolling dice. If you lose a game, you're dead. It's such a kind of game. You only feel this danger because it's so abstract. It will take maybe about 50 or 100 years more. That's the reason why you don't realize that it's a game like Russian roulette. That's the problem. It seems so not real. It seems so abstract. It seems so far away. It seems so not possible. And you are so cute in your life. You lived your life 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. And you are an old president of our Conservative Party. You lived 70 years, so everything was so... It cannot be that if I do wrong, we are all dead. It cannot be. It's my cute world. It's not possible. It's so far away, so abstract. I'm not a physicist. That's the way the people think and argue. They don't know that they really play Russian roulette. They don't feel this threat. Yeah? That's the problem. Yeah? We are only animals. We are designed to live as a hunter and forager in African savanna. And you know this. If there's a kind of danger, we are programmed to realize we are really, really, really very clever. For example, you would never risk to sleep in one bed with a cobra. You would never risk this. But many people already died from carbon monoxide. Yeah. Yeah. If your heating is really defective, I am sure many people knew that the heating is defective, but it's a kind of danger. In our 2 million years in the savannah of Africa, there was never a sleeping room with a gas oven and possible carbon monoxide. Yeah. You see this? This is for carbon monoxide. Listen, what will happen with carbon monoxide? You don't smell. You don't smell. You sleep, and this is your last sleep. You never awake. Because this carbon monoxide make a chemical reaction with your red blood cells in your blood, and then your blood don't transport any oxygen more. It's like somebody would make like this. You can breathe, but you're dead because in your blood there's no more red blood cell to transport the oxygen. But if here is too much carbon monoxide, what will happen? This will happen. We have 15 more years. Then tipping points will be crossed over, and then it will be too late. Too late. You understand this? You understand this? We have 15 more years. You understand?